Hello, or is it good evening? I don't know which greeting I should use at times like this. It's still bright, so hello, I guess. Not that either one really matters, as long as you both agree on it. At times like this, you really want to tell scary stories, right? Eh? Why, you say? You don't know, huh? You don't know. At any rate, let me tell you a scary story. I'll be the one telling it, okay? Come to think of it, it's Christmas season, right? You can hear jingle bells wherever you go, and the Christmas lights are up. Did you know that apparently the Japanese are the only people who celebrate Christmas in this way? Apparently, Christmas is actually a day to spend with your family. Well, they say that Japanese people visit churches to get married, and then temples for funerals. So, I don't think many people really think much about the meaning of it. When it comes to Christmas, you have to talk about Santa, right? I don't think there's anyone out there who hasn't heard of him. People who are grown-ups now no doubt heard about him when they were children. Everyone knows about the man in red with a white beard who leaves presents as all the fir trees come out, right? But there probably aren't many people who know his true form. Maybe you've heard that it comes from St. Nicholas's Day, and that's it. Plus there's a certain drink company that uses his red clothes as a symbol, right? There probably aren't many people who know the full details of the customs that used to take place. So, do you know the real truth about Santa? Not about St. Nicholas, but about the real Santa. Let me tell you all about it. Which do you think is the real Santa? Parents. Parents, huh? Come now, isn't that a little strange? There's no adult who genuinely thinks that Santa drops off a present before leaving, and even kindergartners these days know that Santa is really just their parents. There's no mistake about it. Generally, it's people's parents who dress up like Santa and leave a present. Realistically, it's your parents who give you the present directly. But to kids, it probably doesn't matter who really leaves the present. For parents, it's easy to say that if you're good, you'll get a present, so their kids will behave. Santa, for both parents and children, is a win-win situation. Anyway, you've probably never really thought about it. That your parents were Santa. Not that they were dressing up as Santa, but that they really were Santa. It's possible that Santa also has children himself. And for them, their real parents really would be the real Santa. Their dad isn't just dressing up like Santa like the other kids. He's the real deal. If so, then all sorts of stuff might happen. Don't you think it would be wonderful if your father was Santa? You would always get a present, and he would treat you kindly. But most importantly, you could be proud that your dad was Santa. But would you really feel that way? No, the reality would be quite different. Would you really get a Christmas present without a doubt? Whether you could even celebrate Christmas together would be in doubt. Santa has to get ready to distribute presents on Christmas night, doesn't he? He's got to prepare the presents, the reindeer, his route for the day. He's got so much to do that he wouldn't be able to spend the time with you, right? That's what I think. The person who is busiest with an event of this magnitude wouldn't have time to enjoy it. Is there anyone who takes part in an event that actually has the free time to enjoy it? If we're talking something like a cultural festival, at best you might have a little free time to enjoy it. But between meetings for the program and the day itself, before you know it, there's no time left. That's why Santa's real child wouldn't be able to celebrate Christmas with their parents. Not only on the day itself, but the clean-up the day after would mean they'd have no time to spend together. Strange, right? They're Santa's child, but they wouldn't be able to celebrate Christmas with him. Even though they want to spend time with their father, he would be off running around the world with other children. How do you think they must feel? Maybe they would, on the contrary, be proud that their father is Santa, and there's little they can do about it. If that's how you feel, then you probably shouldn't become a parent. There could be perceptive children out there who feel this way. But isn't it terrible to ask a child to take that for granted? You might want to say that Christmas is his big day, and Santa is free every other day. But you're wrong. Just because they can spend other time with him doesn't mean that this event doesn't matter. His child wanted to spend Christmas with his father. Yes, even just once, he wanted to experience Christmas with his dad. But he couldn't. Of course he couldn't. He couldn't just skip one Christmas. That's why he exists. To take that day off, well, he would have no reason to be. Even so, his child wanted to get their way. They wanted to spend Christmas with their father. They wanted to celebrate with turkey and cake. I think if it was just for a few hours, that would have been okay. Or how about just having a meal together? Well, I'm not Santa, so he probably just couldn't do it. The child also understood that what they were asking was impossible. If it was just a regular job, then they probably would have put up with it. But his job was to make other children happy. His job was to make other children, aside from his own single child, happy. He didn't like that. Before he knew it, he hated Christmas. He wanted to spend it together, yet they couldn't. Now, Christmas was a nightmare for him. A hateful event that stole his father away, and nothing more. Santa could do nothing to stop the hate that twisted in his child's heart. There was nothing he could do about it. He also did his best, but, at its most basic, Christmas was something that he had to spend with other children, so he couldn't find a solution. And if he couldn't find a solution, then there was nothing he could do. Then several years passed, and Santa's child grew up, became an adult who hated Christmas. The years he could innocently enjoy Christmas with his family had already passed. There are no families that spend that time with children who have moved out of home. Now that he was an adult and had to decide what to do, the former child made an awful decision. Have you ever heard of Black Santa? He sends terrible presents to terrible children and also snatches them away. He's the antithesis of Santa, an existence designed to scare children on Christmas. I'm sure you can already see where this is going, right? What Santa's child became. The child who hated Christmas. That's right, that child became Black Santa. Don't you think it's strange? That Black Santa came after regular Santa. Bad and good didn't exist together, so why then did bad come afterwards? That's simple, because evil is born from good. There was some time lag between Santa having a child and then raising that child. Black Santa despised Christmas, but he couldn't touch Santa. Perhaps Santa was stronger than him, or perhaps it was because he was his father. If that was the case, then the subjects of his hatred were the children who received presents from Santa. He would see to it that they all met a terrible fate. He went wild, leaving awful presents and snatching children away. He hated Christmas. Santa noticed this, but there was nothing he could do. Maybe he didn't have the power to stop it. Or maybe it was because it was his child. But don't you think it's strange? The Black Santa we've heard about only goes after bad children. He hates Christmas and indiscriminately goes after children, and yet only the bad ones are subjected to a terrible fate. It's not like Black Santa had a change of heart and left the good kids alone. So why is it only the bad ones who are affected? You don't know, do you? You don't know. It's because Santa saves the good children. If something bad was going to happen to a good child, then Santa would realize it beforehand and do something to stop it. He would collect the bad presents and leave a good one instead. If they were going to be abducted, he would get in the way. That's why no harm ever came to good children. Santa would protect them. It was enough to drive Black Santa mad. Seeing how far his father would go to make other children happy drove him nuts and sent him crazy. His father was still protecting other children with his own hands. Black Santa's battle with his father continued. Before long, unable to put up with the reality of it any longer, Black Santa could no longer go back. He was nothing but evil, heartless evil, an evil that preyed on children. That was what Black Santa became. There was no bringing him back. It's pointless trying to convince a toxic bacteria not to spread its toxins. He couldn't even be saved by his own father any longer. Hey, do you think Black Santa's actions were cruel? Even though he was born from something holy, would you blame the child for turning evil? Could he be blamed? This is just my guess. I think that Black Santa was ignored. What was ignored, you say? His evil actions. If Santa could stop him from harming good children, then he could have done something a little more. He was stronger than Black Santa after all. So, why didn't he? I think it was because he wanted to increase the number of good children. It's difficult to change bad kids. Leaving them no present does nothing. There are plenty of children who don't reflect on matters. Santa can do nothing about those types of kids. As a holy existence, he can't do anything about bad children. But what if someone appeared who could? In reality, he's indiscriminate. But if Santa protects the good children, then it would seem that only the bad were under attack. If there was a clear punishment for being a bad child, then some kids would reconsider their actions. Then, more of them would become good. At first, he may have been taken by surprise, and so he prioritized saving the good kids. Which is to say, he would have visited the good kids anyway, but not the bad kids. But if the number of bad kids decreased the following year, then if the bad kids became the good kids, what was Santa thinking? Ah ha 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 ha. This is all just my conjecture, of course. I mean, I have never actually spoken to Santa before. But sometimes I wonder, which is really the Black Santa? Which do you think? Ha ha. That's the end of my story. Was it scary? I spoke about that child's upbringing. But whether you can innocently celebrate Christmas is another story, right? On that note, apparently Black Santa has been really busy lately. Seems his list is overflowing with people. Not that I know anything about what type of list it is, but hey, even I know who the bad kids are. You're a bad kid, aren't you? Or maybe you're too old for that now. But that doesn't have anything to do with it, at least for me. At the end of the day, I'm just imitating Black Santa, after all. Is that strange? But I'm just like Black Santa. If you think you've been unlucky this year, why don't you give up? Your life, that is.